Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the L Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now.
We are those wild and crazy Browns fans that we're part of the Fanatical Elfz. And that's Lou, and there's Steve, and there's Jarrell. And it's a Thursday night, everybody, and we love you tuning in. You might, if you tune into the Fanatical Elfz every morning or every evening, you see Lou with his Burning River Browns talk. You got Steve Gill there again with his Dog Pound South show. Jarrell with the Dog Radio show that he just released his latest this afternoon. Hope you enjoyed that. And, you got yours truly, Johnny Cleveland here. And so, guys, welcome aboard. Thanks again. I know many of us right now have our eyes glued to the other the other professional team, basketball team, the Cavs. What's the latest score, Lou?
Well, hang on. I thought for the show it would be a good idea to turn it off, but let me just pull it up here.
74-65 Cavs.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
74-65.
We will not be posting any live streams. This is actually we're live on YouTube tonight. So
you cannot watch it here.
Yeah. So thank you, Fanatical. Thank you, Fans First Sports Network. We're live on their show. I noticed that whoever on the Fanatical or the Fans First, somebody's sharing, and we're getting lots of plays. Lou's show and then Jarrell's show got lots of plays this afternoon. So we're hoping. Thank you for tuning in on the Facebook side of things.
I got angry like normal, but
Oh, really? Uh-oh.
Well, I was like, because the city Cleveland City Council are a bunch of idiots, and they're just morons. Like, they don't understand economic progress, and they don't understand that having an empty stadium sitting on the lakeshore with 80,000.
So what happened? Well, wait, I'm confused. What happened?
Basically, they voted to give the mayor authority to enforce the Art Modell law.
Which does not apply here.
It doesn't apply. Technically, it doesn't apply.
Read the law. It does not apply.
It doesn't apply, which is just like they're just being jerks, is what they're doing. It's just pretty.
They're going to screw it up.
Yeah,
basically, Jimmy is going to get his dome in Brook Park, and then he's going to throw some money at the lakefront renovation, and that's going to be the deal. And if these guys don't get out of the way, that's not going to happen. Yeah, why would Jimmy want to spend any money on the lakefront if these morons are getting in the way?
Did you see the story that he's going to invest $200 million on the expansion of the Berea headquarters and renovation of it too?
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one too. So that's Berea, Brook Park, and like I said, what they're probably going to do is rezone that lot, that 178-acre lot, and make it a part of the city of Cleveland. And be like, all right, now City Council, shut up. And I said, people that are against it, like, tell me how much economic sense this makes versus doing what we're about to do, where you got just a plot of land across the street from the airport that's been empty and doing nothing for like decades, and now we're going to do something with it. And you're like, oh no, I don't want that. Why?
Well, now I was planning my trip. I'm going up, Saturday. I was telling you guys off air. I've got a family affair Saturday morning. Yeah, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna turn right on the 480 right there at Brook Park. So where's the stadium going to be built off of that? Like, is it going to be right off that interchange, like the 71 480?
It's pretty close to the airport. It's going to be built mostly in ground. When I went to the Top Dog tailgate event out in Berea, we drove by it, and I was like, okay, this is it. I was pointing it to my wife. I was like, this is where they're going to build it. She's like, oh, okay, that'd be neat. That's all she said. It's just like, I was like, yeah.
Which side of which is it going to be built off of 71? Yeah.
It'll be like, if you're going on 71 South, you'll see it on your right-hand side. It's a huge lot. It's right across the street from the airport. Yeah.
Right across the street from the airport, like south of the airport?
Yes, south of the airport.
Okay.
There used to be a Ford factory.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now. Okay. And so have they started like moving stuff there? No,
they haven't. Technically, he hasn't purchased it yet.
They're flattening the buildings a little bit and hauling off stuff. Let's just say that.
Okay. Well,
the shell company is doing it, not Jimmy.
He didn't buy it yet. Nothing's official, but I would expect something to be announced by August or the end of this season.
Okay,
I would say.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry I got a little bit
sidetracked. No, this is good. I mean, this is sort of, Jarrell said earlier on his podcast, this is sort of the dead time of we're pulling for stories here, but I enjoyed that opening there, Jarrell, earlier. You're very, I like your takes, man. It's great. And
yeah, they are.
He doesn't want a dome. I know he doesn't want a dome.
Let's talk before we talk about the schedule. I know you talked a little bit about, and you had an interview where you had recorded with Mary Kay Cabot. Mm-hmm. I'm not real versed in what happened. You want to explain what happened, then maybe we can talk a minute. I know Steve's up on that. I don't know if Lou is, but
no, I haven't. No, this would be new to me.
It was a YouTube clip I came across, and she was on there talking about how the Ken Dorsey hiring was part of the Bill O'Brien thing, that when Deshaun Watson was down in Houston when he had that big year, Bill O'Brien was down there. So that whole system, Ken Dorsey is part of that tree. So option routes, a lot of choice routes.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing about getting him comfortable.
Okay.
And, that kind of made my eyebrows go up because, obviously he had that big year in 2020. And when you just think about the passing game, I think the running game has always been pretty solid here, but it's the passing game the last couple of years, they haven't been able to unlock that. So
right.
That sounded great to me if they're able to.
Yep.
I mean, all signs are point to Deshaun being very comfortable, getting more, everyone's, gearing up again. My biggest fear, like many, is like, can the kids stay healthy? I think that's the biggest bugaboo for me.
Well, you've got a high-priced quarterback that has a unique injury that no one's ever had before, and he's been injured in the past. But enough about Joe Burrow. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson.
When I was at the Top Dog tailgate, we were all talking about that, and I just sat with there was other podcasters there, like My Dog's podcast, the Burning River Sports podcast, which I said, thank you for letting me take your name.
Oh,
they laughed. They laughed. They knew who I was. They laughed. They said,
that's good.
They laughed. I joked with them, but they wanted to have me on theirs because to talk wrestling and stuff, which is fine. But I was kind of explaining to them. I said, look, Pittsburgh did not pick up the 5th year on Fields. They didn't pick up the 5th year on Najee Harris.
Right.
If that was Cleveland, they'd be like, what's wrong with these guys? Don't they have any stability? What's going on here? But no, Pittsburgh, you hear crickets.
That's a good point.
If we had our best pass rusher asking for a trade and one of our best receivers asking for a trade, Cleveland's a mess. Nothing about Cincinnati. If we lost 3 starting offensive linemen and 3 starters on defense, we weren't going to be anything anyway. So do you see this? Like they're not really seeing the big picture. Meanwhile, we've done nothing but keep players, bring more players in, and sign guys and keep things stable. Now, the only thing Garrett Bush came out with a video, and I like him. Don't get me wrong, but I don't understand why hasn't Stefanski and Barry been extended yet. Well, it's happening. It's just, I don't understand. This is what they're trying to find a complaint about.
Steve.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You were.
Well, it just amazes me that Cleveland sits there and brings guys back who wanted to come back.
And are putting over the organization. Yeah.
Yeah. And 2, they do extensions in the summer. They've always done extensions.
Yeah,
that's when Myles Garrett got his extension. Nick Chubb got his extension. Then somebody else did too. I can't remember. It was Ward. Denzel Ward got his.
Yeah.
So they do it it's coming, people. Calm down. If that's the only thing you got to complain about, then get a life.
Yeah. I think they need things to talk about. It's that slow time of the year. So. But
that is because
talking to the other podcasters. Go ahead, sir.
We were supposed to be talking about a schedule tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Okay. So I've heard of a myriad of things from, Paul Brown, our famous guy across the pond.
Yep.
everybody was talking like Thursday. It was going to be tonight. I mean, we've been talking about it like for 3 weeks coming into this. And then we hear Tuesday or Wednesday. No, it's going to be next Wednesday. And we, Steve, you talked about, and a lot of us had heard about, the trip maybe to London. And now it seems like there was delayed. It seems like something has happened and it was delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can tell you why.
Lead off.
He knows why. Steve knows why. He told me earlier.
They got 2 games on Christmas. Christmas is on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So you got 4 teams. You got 4 teams in week 17 playing on Christmas. Okay. So how are you going to give each of those 4 teams a short week going into that Christmas game? Well, the logical thing would be to have teams play on Thursday. So how does it make any sense to have the same 2 teams play back-to-back weeks that late in the season? They can't do that. So this is what they have been struggling with, is how to equitably make it fair for the 4 teams playing on Christmas and not give them all, like you play on Sunday and then poof, there you are on Wednesday. That's not going to work. Or you can't, you can put them on Saturday, but that's like a Sunday to Thursday break.
Right.
And you got, like I said, you got 4 teams. So how are they going to do it? And this is what they've been messing with.
Okay.
They're still going to finalize it on Monday, like they always do.
So do these teams find out? So the football teams themselves supposedly find out?
No, they don't know yet.
They don't know. Okay.
No, they don't know yet. So that advertisement that the Browns put out about the 4 games they're going to send fans to, and somebody noticed the other day, one of them was Jacksonville. And immediately said, they're not going to London. Yep. Sorry, I've seen that advertisement online for 2 weeks, and that has nothing to do with it. So I still think they're going to play in London on October 20th at Wembley Stadium against the Jags.
Yeah,
but
go ahead. I was listening. Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And right now, all you're getting is a lot of rumors because they really haven't finalized it yet.
Mm-hmm.
The one rumor that I heard it on Tony Grossi's today was that the Christmas games will be exclusively available on Netflix. Did any of you hear that too?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem...
I didn't hear that, but
yeah, that would be very upsetting, I think, for a lot of fans.
Well, I can't see them doing the Browns in London and slapping them on Christmas Day. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Was it 2021?
You can't do that for one team twice in a season.
Remind me, 2021, I was talking about it on my podcast last night. I was just speculating, but not speculating. Was that the year that the Browns had 5 primetime games, including the game in Green Bay on Christmas? Was that in 2021 with Baker and they threw the multiple interceptions?
Because
wasn't that 2021
in that game? That was a crisp, and we should have won because the one interception there was obviously defensive holding. It was clear as day, and they didn't call. I mean, the referees, the officials are just
not going to get that call at Green Bay. Not with the Browns.
We're still bitter with Browns.
Trust me, I'm still bringing up stuff from 15 years ago. Yeah,
same here.
So let's talk a little bit about the schedule on the away side with these, or no, the home side. Let's talk about the home side. I mentioned this on my show last night, but for you guys, what games, and I'll start with you, Jarrell. Some of the home teams the Browns are playing include the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Cowboys, and a few others. You've probably looked at some of the home games. Is there a particular team or, player? I know, I mentioned on my show, I'm most excited about the Cowboys coming to town. I remember going back as a kid, back in the 70s and early 80s, and being a kid and going to a game, and they had the Cowboys come into town, and it was on back then, you get their football program, and that was a big deal. I still have a few of those. Mm-hmm. So what game this season for the home side, for the fans, do you think will be special, and what you're looking forward to?
I got to say the Chiefs. I got to say the champs coming to town. I think correct me if I'm wrong, was the last time they played was at the helmet to helmet that wasn't called, and the fumble out the end zone.
They opened up the next season in Kansas City.
Right. Okay, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So, you get the chance to kind of feel their punch, get a feel for, because you're probably going to have to see them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I would say it's the Chiefs, and I hate the Cowgirls, but I would like to see them go to Cleveland and get beat. So probably those two.
I like Dak Prescott. I always have wished he had almost been drafted by the Browns back in the day. So I look forward to seeing what he can do. But yeah, the Cowboys game, it would be pretty cool. I mean, the Chiefs too. I mean, that's
Cowboys and the Chiefs.
Yeah. Lou,
I'll say I want Jim Harbaugh.
Oh,
there you go.
I want the Chargers here. I'm wearing the Ohio State thing. I want Jim Harbaugh. We're gonna go OHIO in his face.
Yeah.
Say, hey, and you can't steal signs here in the NFL. Maybe I should close my door.
I'm enjoying the people that are tuning in.
My wife, my dog, my cats.
Parade of
I got a full house. The kids aren't back there yet. So
no, not yet. Is that a dog back there right now?
Yeah, it's my dog.
Dog right now.
It's Archie.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, it's Archie. He's about 10 and a half.
Oh, there was a really cute dog that we saw, a puppy, that I told my wife we're gonna have to try to get. Here, I wrote it down even. We were out.
So we were
over in the Dayton area, and they're called Bernese Mountain Dog Doodle. It's a mix between a Burmese and then an Australian Mountain Dog, maybe Australian. But man, those things were cute. All right,
yeah.
Go get your rescue.
The Cavs are still winning. It looks like 90-78. Is that correct? I just saw something.
Well, you got a little bit faster than me. It's towards the end of the third quarter.
Okay,
I got 87-78, but you might have
somebody just hit a 3-pointer.
Somebody, and it looks like it was Donovan Mitchell.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right, Steve. What game this season at home for the Brownies are you looking forward to?
Well, probably because of the concert, that they're probably going to open up at home. And I always look forward
always special, the home opener special.
So you think they are going to open at home because of the why?
Well, they can't have that field ready week 2. Don't they have that concert on Friday night?
Oh, I thought it was week 1. Oh, is it week 2?
No, it's week
2.
Week 2, yeah. So they're going to be on the road week 2.
The rumor is that they're opening 4:25 start, nationally televised against the Cowboys.
Yeah, you mentioned right.
I've heard that, so that would be cool.
That would be
nice. I'd love to see Cincinnati come in again week 1 and see how that wrist is doing on Mr. Burrow, that unique injury that no other quarterbacks ever had before.
Or had to,
apparently that's not a big deal with
a wrist ligament. I mean,
he can't snap the ball out with his wrist because of the ligament damage he's got. So
a bone easier to heal than a.
Glad they paid all that money for that hurt quarterback. But anyway,
let me ask you.
Yeah, Dallas would be great. Oh man, I'd love that. 3:25 here in Nashville. Ooh, yes, sir. Sign me up.
She's mad.
Let me ask you this on the away slate. I read this article on the Plain Dealer, and I don't know who wrote it, but they were talking about the away record of the teams that we're going to be playing, other than the Philadelphia Eagles was sub 500 a year ago. But when they talk about
we have the 10th easiest road schedule.
And that's what I want to get to, though.
The Browns?
Steve. And because this is what I want to ask you guys, is that you've got
right now.
Well, you've got they got to play the Saints. They have to go out to Denver again. And
Bo Nix.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like, I know they have a different group now in Denver and stuff, but we went out there to Denver last year and we lost. And I just don't think it's that easy. Any game in the NFL and any given Sunday is tough. And and we're all projecting, wins and losses. I get that. But even the Saints, came here 2 years ago when it was below 0 and it was a snowstorm and beat us on our own home court field. So I just find it funny when people were predicting 4 months out. So
that's why I say for now, it's the 10th easiest. Things change as training camp happens, but I love to see as many rookie quarterbacks as humanly possible.
So if you could go to one of the away games, where would you like? It sounds like Jacksonville.
I'm sure most fans would go to Vegas.
Yep, I was thinking. New Orleans would be nice too. I've been to New Orleans.
I've been to New Orleans twice, and they've won twice. In 1999, when they got their first victory, I was sitting up in the stands when Timmy threw that Hail Mary to Kevin Johnson.
I was at home.
Nice.
I was there in 2002 when Dennis Northcutt went all over the place. So New Orleans is fun.
Yeah.
Let me just put it to you that way. Very fun.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Now, we are 4 months away. Let's pause for a break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's coming up right now with the rookie camps and things like that. This is the Fanatical Elfz Network. We are the Fanatical Elfz here. We're a bunch of wild and crazy guys, and we're part of Fans First Sports Network. Thank you, Fans First. We'll be right back. We tried to be very quiet on those commercial breaks.
I gotta go.
We gotta go.
I gotta go.
Lou's got his show, so tune
Thanks,
over.
guys.
Reach
See you,
Lou
Lou.
here.
See you, Lou.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
All right, so we're coming back off of this break. Let's talk a little bit about Steve. You mentioned off air the rookies and Jarrell. They're back here in Cleveland now. They're going to be hitting the field tomorrow. Is that what we're hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's orientation. So they're going to meet with coaches and put on their first professional NFL jerseys and stuff, which is exciting for these kids. Some of these kids, so we'll see pictures, we'll see videos, which I always love before the season starts. I love seeing all the guys walking in and all the videos. So yeah,
good. No,
be interesting.
Jarrell, we're 4 months out from the season starting, so we're all talking about we're grasping at straws here. No. Some of us are, not you, Steve. Just the schedule's coming up. We're looking at that, but what are you looking forward to right now? I mean, outside of the schedule.
That's a tough question because I was just talking about this. I hate that they make such a big deal about the schedule. Like they make a big deal about the draft. They make a big deal about the schedule release. It's like we still got to wait 4 months before the season starts. So this is an interesting time because if you're a fan of the game and this is a dry period for me because I really don't watch the NBA or baseball. So I usually find myself watching old games. So that's probably what I do the next 4 months is watching games from the season and see if I can pick up on anything.
Yeah. No. I
don't blame you.
We all go back and watch the old videos. I'm still turn on the Jets Browns game from '86 periodically on YouTube just to get the thrill of victory in that game. A lot of good. The Browns have really. I mean, we're in a really good spot here with the Browns. We got a lot of things to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, what are you? I mean, you're getting geared up. You're always ready. What are your things that you're really studying right now and focused on?
Well, after the schedule comes out, I'll listen to the senseless pick how many wins banter on Sports Talk Radio, which is totally useless.
Right.
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, 11-6. If you told all these radio guys last year, well, guess what? They're going to start 5 quarterbacks. They'd all go, oh, you got to be kidding. They'll win 3 games, 4 games. They'll fire Stefanski. They'll fire Andrew Berry. No. So you never know. But I've already started watching old games from last year. I like to go back, look at because sometimes your perception of what happened during a game. I mean, you forget about what happened during the Cincinnati game because it was the first game of the season. If you go back and watch it again, and then you realize how well that defense really played, and even though, everybody complains about Watson, but traditionally he is a slow starter. I mean, not for the year in game. His quarterback rating is not the greatest in the first quarter, but it's fantastic in the fourth quarter. And he gradually gets better as the game goes. And so I pay attention to that. I'll pay attention to the linebackers. I'll pay attention, I'll go back and do a little more in-depth look at individual players. Like everybody says, well, Elijah Moore stinks. Well, he had a career year last year. How could he stink and still have a career year? Right. And Cedric Tillman, he didn't do much. Well, there were games last year where he came in really clutch. So that's what I like to do until the training camp starts.
Let me ask you this. David Njoku. Was it David Njoku?
Love him.
Love him. I mean, his comments the other day about defending Cleveland, and, he really called out Micah Parsons and told him he's an idiot. And his take, which I thought was exceptionally interesting, because I have some inside knowledge. Like some of you guys, sometimes you hear stories from people that know people, and the stories that I heard about David Njoku initially when he came into the league and he was 20 years old, 21. I mean, kind of a hothead. And, he didn't always respect his elders who were reporters and such. But listening to him then the other day talk about him growing up and becoming a man, growing up here in Cleveland, he grew up, left Miami and now he's going to be 28 years old in a couple weeks. So I just thought it was really interesting. And I'll root for the guy. I've not been happy hearing how he treated some of my friends in the past, but if the guy truly has
he's matured,
you would hope so. Yeah.
And he's learned to be a team leader.
Yeah.
And, some guys are natural born leaders. Some, are vocal. Some are like Nick Chubb and don't say anything and let their actions on the field make them a team leader. And I'm glad to see Njoku is matured and becoming a team leader. And that's what they need. They need a bunch of team leaders.
Yeah. Well, and
not everybody can be Juan Thornhill.
People forget. I mean, he has lasted a long time in Cleveland. He has. He was drafted along with Myles Garrett, correct, in 2017?
And Peppers. That's for the 3 first-round draft picks, I believe, that year. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Or was it? Yeah. Or was it Mayfield? No, it was Myles.
No,
yeah. And Julius Peppers.
Yes. Is Peppers still in the league? Is he still?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay.
I have to check Ashtabula to see if he's over there, because that's where Coach Kitsum would always line him up.
You're a funny guy.
Well, he always played so deep all the time.
Yeah.
They'd have to pan the camera back. Oh, there he is.
Man, we've come a long way, haven't we? I mean, this organization, this team. So let's talk a little bit just briefly before we leave. Again, like you said, to settle down, or we're talking about some of these guys with like Stefanski and everybody. Why haven't they been extended yet with their coaching contracts? Jarrell, what do you think's going? I mean, I'm not surprised. I don't know how coaching contracts always work, but it seems like isn't he in his last year or of the contract, maybe, or am I wrong on that?
He's due for an extension. I believe aren't they both due?
Yeah, this is his 5th year.
So is this the last
5-year contract? Yeah,
so
this is the last year. They'll get it done.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, and they need to get it done before he wins the division, because if they wait and he ends up winning the division, the price is gonna go up. So they need to have the kind of the Deshaun Watson mentality. Go ahead and pay him now.
Yeah,
it's gonna get more expensive, and he's
well. The ladies like Kevin Stefanski. Let me tell you, that's anytime you hear like on that show that Lou had the other day, they just couldn't stop talking about Kevin Stefanski. Good at Steady Eddie.
Well, I'm secure in my masculinity, or I can say he's quite a handsome man.
So yeah, we think he'll definitely get extended. It's just do you think it'll happen before this season starts, or what do you guys think?
Oh yeah, it'll happen during the summer. It'll happen before training camp.
Okay.
The one extension I'm really starting to get mystified about is Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Because you got Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore both in their last year. Well, they got to re-sign one of them.
Yeah.
But then you got Amari Cooper's age as a factor. But Elijah Moore really isn't a number one. Amari Cooper is the number one. So, you know, I know why they drafted Cedric Tillman, that he was going to take Donovan Peoples-Jones' place. James Thrash is just a added guy, and he plays special teams. He was a gunner in college. So, you know, that's the extension I'm waiting for.
Okay.
If they're going to do it or not. I would hope they would do it here before the mandatory mini camp, which is in June, the last one they have, which is June 11th through the 13th. I'd like to see them do it before then.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I don't like how they let Jarvis Landry. I feel like he should have retired at Brown, because he was, integral to, kind of the culture shift. He was the one that kind of brought the tenacity and the swagger and all of that. And I think Amari Cooper has come in. He's been consistent. He's been productive.
Yeah.
You want to, hopefully money doesn't come into play where you got to let him walk, where both sides can meet in the middle, and hopefully he can retire here, because I think you're going to need, nice. He's great. Everybody talks about how good his route running is. You need that type of veteran leadership and pass that down. That's what I think the Browns, they're going to have to take that next step, because they've laid the foundation. But now they got to have it to where the veterans can pass down what they do well to the people that's coming up, rather than just kind of letting people walk out the door and you running the risk of.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. I mean, you really just we've all been talking about it for a while, but I think Browns fans recognize that it's this period that we're in right now is a lot. It feels a lot like it was when we were growing up, and in that period of Bernie Kosar and Marty Schottenheimer, and just that consistency, and those teams were just always there. They were, but okay. So back to reality, and now you hear the stupid comments and people still dissing on the Brownies. I mean, is that going to change only when we make some more progress in the postseason? Obviously, we laid an egg against Houston.
You got to win. You got to win a Super Bowl. I mean, nobody cares about the Bengals. Talk about their Super Bowl appearances. Nobody cares about that.
But I'd rather be in the Bengals' shoes right now than having been in a Super Bowl. But as a Browns fan,
I gotta disagree with you there. Yeah, I mean, if we're, I don't know how many of the Browns championships you want to count. It's either 4 or it's 8, but whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
they call them championships. It might not have been Super Bowls, but nobody talks about the Celtics in the 50s. Nobody downplays those championships. So,
Okay. No.
Or the Yankees in the 20s. Nobody downplays that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only way the Browns are going to get national respect is they quit doing this. Have a good season, have a bad season.
Right.
Have a good season, have a bad season. I mean, you got to go back to the late 80s, 85 through 89, where they were consistently good. And if they can start doing that, I mean, back then, they were on TV all the time. They were on the covers of sports magazines, Sporting News, Sports Illustrated. I mean, and they got the national respect. Yeah. So this year, they go out, they win the division, like I hope they will.
Yeah.
Then they'll start getting the respect they deserve.
When I think about like this last 5 years or 4 years with Stefanski, we all can point to week 1 or week 2 when Baker Mayfield went down with that injury in 2021, that really kind of set everything tumbling, and had a big effect on that season, and why maybe, we ended up 8-9 that year instead of we had just been 11-5, had the big playoff win. And to be quite honest, and I was in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. We've talked about this game before, and you mentioned it earlier, Jarrell, or the opening game of the 2021 season. Browns should have won that game. They controlled that atmosphere in that game. Those fans in Kansas City, when that game ended, I'll never forget it. I mean, they were not they were happy, but they knew that they got outplayed and they got lucky in that game. I mean, if Nick Chubb doesn't fumble the ball, and then we don't have that silly sequence later on with the punter and stuff, I mean, that's a win against the Chiefs and we don't know. I mean, maybe Baker Mayfield doesn't decide to plow himself into a Houston Texan and tear his shoulder apart in the next week. Was that week 2, right? Right? They came off that loss. No, right? Didn't they
week
win?
1. They opened at Kansas City.
They played Kansas City and then they lost. They came back and they beat Houston.
Oh yeah, then they beat
they beat the Texans, but that's when Baker went out. And it just kind of set everything backwards, and it was just one of those games where it was up and down. You're trying to win a game, lose a game, and so you don't get that sense this year, though, right? I mean, we're the biggest those two factors that we're all been talking about too. Again, are Deshaun and Nick Chubb, and like you even mentioned, Amari Cooper. Not that he's injured, but still, we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with that contract. So. I think we're all excited about it. I mean, do you see any, why are you both confident that this team is going to win 10, 11, 12 games this season? And then I guess the other question to that is what would derail it again?
You can go
obviously
first.
Injury, but if you want to,
injuries would derail it again. That's what always happens. But why am I don't know. You've got like Jarrell was saying, you've got a foundation and you're building on that foundation. Yeah. The defense was good last year. Well, they're bringing back all the guys that were on that defense, and now Jim Schwartz could take it up a notch. And, learning a new defense or learning a new offense doesn't just happen overnight. So he can build on that. And offensively, it's going to be a new offense. It's going to be a different offense. And it all depends on how comfortable and confident Deshaun Watson is. And they've done all the right things to make him as comfortable and as confident as humanly possible. So I expect a big season out of him. I expect a big season out of the team.
Should we expect with Deshaun Watson, Jarrell, I want to ask you this because you've talked about him earlier. Should we expect to see ginormous numbers, or does he just need to do kind of the Baker Mayfield sort of manage the team? I mean, he was 5-1 last year. What does he need? Does he need to do anything differently or just status quo and just keep pushing ahead? We know he's probably going to be better. He'll be healthier. What are you expecting from him?
Well, I would say I don't know that the gaudy numbers are going to be there, because even when I looked at the team in 2020, the leading rusher only had like 600 yards.
Yeah.
I feel like you can pencil in Chubb bare minimum, even coming off an injury, 1,300 yards.
Yeah.
So, just by nature of that, I would almost say, Tom Brady in 07, 08, 09, he was putting up gaudy stats, but, on that last 3 Super Bowl run, his stats were they weren't middle of the road, but they were elite. I would like to see Watson in that kind of tier where you spread the ball around. And when I looked at the 2023 Browns, like the receivers, they were real top heavy. I think Njoku was like 82 receptions, Cooper was 71, and Elijah Moore was like in the 50s, like 56 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next closest person, I think, was Jerome Ford. He was in the 40s, but nobody else was in the 30s. And I think Tillman was in the 20s. So you had a big drop off in production for just targets in general. I think this season you're going to see we got Njoku, you got Cooper, and then Judy. I think you're going to see those 3 at the top in that 70, 80 range. Elijah Moore probably be where he was, but hopefully you get more in the middle. You get 4 or 5 guys that can get into the 30s. And you know, you couple that with the defense.
Yeah.
He's ever had a defense this potent. That I think that's gonna determine a lot. Health is, like y'all talked about, is the number one thing, but the offense is gonna have to match.
Yeah.
This does. They're just gonna.
Well, yeah, Steve.
And the other thing is what we started talking about, the schedule.
Yeah.
When are they playing certain teams? I mean, the Browns got their way last year with the back-to-back West Coast games. It didn't come out like we wanted, but that's what they wanted, and they stayed out there. So, and they have to go back out to play the Raiders and Denver again this year. So those are 2 Mountain and Pacific time zone teams. So it just depends on how the schedule falls.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do the schedule game, but I can look at how the schedule plays out, and you can see, like we all agreed last year, tough part of the schedule, it was front heavy. I mean, we talked about it on the show.
The first
how tough the first 4 games were so tough. And
and we were saying, you know, yeah.
So we'll see. But the schedule is the other factor. Health, schedule, and of course the leadership foundation they've already established.
Okay, so let's talk Super Bowl for a second. Where's the Super Bowl this year?
New Orleans, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it's New Orleans.
I really don't know.
Okay.
New Orleans.
Well, that's our favorite city. I've been talking about it here. We could
go there twice. How about it?
Yes, I think that would be. I've been through.
I think that would be great.
You know, you think about New Orleans, and you think the image that runs through my head is the Superdome and the hurricane. When was that? 2000.
That was 05 or
Katrina?
6.
04, 05. Katrina. Just the horrible situation that happened there.
All I can say about New Orleans is you see some strange things in New Orleans, and I'll just leave it at that. And boy, have I seen some strange things.
Now, I'll say this. I've been to Seattle a few times because my daughter lives out there, and Seattle's one of those towns, the West Coast, you get a lot of, folks that are on the streets and homeless. You see a lot in some of the major, especially out on the West Coast. Speaking, I'm not to try to change the subject, and I don't mean to talk about the homeless and whatnot, but I did want to, I found something really interesting this last week. I don't know if you guys ever heard, did I mention this last week that there's this World Cup homeless soccer world football tournament now every year or every couple of years. They started it back in 2002, 2003, and there was a movie made on Netflix about it this last couple of weeks. It's called The Beautiful Game or something, but it's an actual, event. I don't know if you have ever heard of it. But I started doing some research on it, and it's all legitimate, and they have these tournaments across the globe. And the people that play in it, it's like a 5-on-5 miniature soccer field, like on AstroTurf, or and they play it. If you are on these teams, you've had to have been homeless or at some point in the last year or something, or had some sort of other supports. But it's really the story was kind of based on some truths and. It's an interesting. I would encourage anybody to look it up and read up about it. Just some interesting stories and people that have played in the tournament, and you have former athletes, former soccer players that have played at one point and then been considered homeless or living out on the streets. Obviously, you don't want that for anyone. I just was fascinated by this story. But it's a movie on Netflix. It's called The Beautiful Game. So It's kind of almost like a comedy movie. I mean, it's kind of lighthearted, but if you want to watch a good sports movie on the weekend, and they have, yeah, Steve.
No, I said if you want to watch a good sports movie on the weekend, there you have it. There's your choice.
Yeah,
critics' choice.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna look that up.
What before we leave, but we'll leave everybody. I know people. I don't know what the game score in the Cavs game is. I hope they're still winning.
114-89 Cavaliers.
Yes.
With 320 something.
Oh yes.
Make that 116.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mr. Nang just hit a shot.
Oh, you mean old the guy? Man, I'm telling you, I love the guy, but he just
go off on him.
Yeah, it's just so funny because people are ripping him, and I know, like he's trying. I'll say this: in the first half, he made one hell of an individual play. I don't know if you were watching it earlier, but early in that first quarter, he did a hell of a job. Somebody else took a shot. He missed one that he should have made, but he stayed underneath amongst the trees and grabbed a great rebound. And somehow I think the Cavs got a couple points, but I just thought at least he's given a lot of effort, so good job to him. Good job to the Cavaliers, man. Good job. Let's
hope they can hold on.
Still a lot of time, but you never know. We are Cleveland
fans.
In the
NBA, 240 something. That's like a week and a half.
No, but I think I was just really impressed.
The last 2 minutes of a football game. It lasts forever.
Evan Mobley did a really good job tonight. I don't know. I know, Jarrell, you probably don't. You said you don't really follow the games much, but we'll see. Let me just ask you this before we leave. Football. We're talking sports movies. We've talked about this topic before, Steve. I know you have, but Jarrell, a favorite of yours. It can be a Cleveland story or any kind of sports movie, just football, or it can be another sport that you've always. It's kind of like your go-to if you ever want to watch something on replay.
It would for me. It'd probably be He Got Game with Denzel and Ray.
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite sports movie of all time. Yeah,
that came out when?
98.
Yes,
98.
Is it based on?
I don't think it's based on anything. I mean, it's kind of based on like AAU kind of stuff and how, like, I guess if you're a phenom, some of the stuff these colleges are willing to do to get you in their program. So it's kind of a commentary on that. The Fab Five may have inspired it. I'm not sure.
The Nick Nolte, was he that Blue Chips movie? That was a good one. Nick Nolte with Shaq. Shaq and Charles Barkley, man, on TNT. They're just like last night. Shaq was just so funny. They came off of a break, and he and Charles Barkley just go at it every night. And Charles is so frank about teams and saying this or that, and how Boston's going to end up playing the Knicks, and it's not even going to be close. And the Knicks might as well. They don't have a really good team. I just think Charles is funny to listen to. All right, Steve, what movie you got?
Well,
thanks, Steve.
I like so many sports movies. I can go old school and say Fortune Cookie. With the Cleveland Browns in it, the first Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau buddy movie. Great flick, by the way. Got some great characters and it's great storyline.
I need to go back and watch that one.
Tin Cup, Caddyshack. Love Caddyshack. Yeah. Field of Dreams, if you want to cry. But yeah, those
what about For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner? See, that's one of my personal. No, you don't like. It's more of a love story. You don't like the whole.
Yeah, I wasn't big on that one, but yeah, there are a few sports movies I'll watch over again.
Well, Hoosiers is mine. I mean, hands like.
Oh, well, you got to go with Hoosiers.
I'm like, I'll watch. I mean, if I need a lift, a momentum swing. I just, stop the. I'm gonna watch Hoosiers. Gene Hackman. How many guys are on the court? And how many passes are we gonna make?
Gets out the tape measure.
Yes.
Same as our Jim and Hickory.
When it comes to this team, what I say is the absolute truth or the absolute law, or so. How does he say that? I just love that moment. So
that's it. 118-94.
Nice job, Cleveland Cavaliers, with the big win tonight, a road win against those Boston Celtics.
They only lost 5 home games all year.
If you're a Cavs fan and you're tuning in, my son just texted me, say, "Go Cavs, Celtics suck."
So now I got to figure out why the Guardians are losing to a god awful White Sox team 3-0.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Why'd you tell me that? Now I'm upset.
Oh, they'll come back and win. They always do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, namely because they only have 1 hit. That would probably do it.
If you're watching the Cavs
game, lousy hit, that's it. Sorry. Major League. That's my other favorite.
Hey, tune into us right now. We're live right now here on Twitter, on the X. We're live on YouTube. We're not channeling any news or live feeds. We're on Facebook.
Hey.
Tell your friends we're a Browns podcast. We would love for you to tune into us. We'll be coming out with the audio version of this show momentarily, but we did want to, if you're out there and you're scrolling right now and you see us, beautiful guys talking about the Brownies. Final takes tonight on what we've seen, what we're talking about, anything.
Just waiting for that schedule. The NFL's got to make a big deal out of it because the NFL makes a big deal out of everything. It's all about the ratings, all about the cash. So that'll put a little more focus on how this team might be due for next season.
Mm-hmm.
Not complete focus, but it's a little focus. Tiny bit.
Yeah. Do you have anything coming up? Do you have any shows coming up this weekend, or when will you have your next Dog Pound show out?
Probably Sunday. That's all right with you.
Yep. I will.
Right.
We'll get that out.
I'll knock it out Sunday.
Sounds like a plan. Now it might be a little bit late because I'll be spending Mother's Day with my beautiful mother-in-law Barb and my beautiful wife Laura Jean. So look forward to spending the time with them. This is Mother's Day weekend, and happy Mother's Day to everybody out there who's listening. There are a lot of great women should rule the world, or they should, because they
I hate to tell you, John, they already do.
They already do. I know.
I'm fine with it.
So happy Mom's Day to everybody. Jarrell, final thoughts for you?
I feel like we touched on it. It's the foundation thing for me. And, when you talk about the AFC North, the last winners of the AFC North, they've always been like top 5 or 10 in defense. So they already have that piece. You just got to string together a full season and get you a win in the AFC North. Won't that be the first win ever in the AFC North? They've never won the AFC North, right?
No. They
last one
93.
It was the AFC Central in 1989.
Yep.
90. No, 90. It was 99. Was it?
It was 89. It was when 89. The last time they won the division.
Oh, okay.
So that's got to change. I mean, you're just talking about numbers. So this is.
Well, I think that was more evident too this year, wasn't it, Jarrell, when we were, looking at the playoff possibilities and what Cleveland needed to do, and then knowing that we were going to have an away game, and we knew that going, the last couple of weeks of the season, and then, who would we rather play away? And we were like, okay, we just beat in Houston, so okay, we'll be able to do that, but we can see the effect of having in a home game. I think that would make a huge difference. And really, we've got to win, right? Pretty much the division to do that.
Yeah,
guarantee a home game. Yeah,
but I mean, can we guarantee a home game even without winning the division? I don't think that's possible the way it's configured right now.
Not anymore.
I think it depends on the seeding. If you win the first game, because then they reseed.
Yeah, so then they reseed, and you can host the game 2. But game 1, if you're
walking, that's right.
Yeah, Okay. See, that's where the schedule came in last year. We were all wanting to play Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's last game was here in Nashville, and they laid a giant egg against the Titans. Boom! Houston wins the division, and we got to go play them.
Right.
So
we were all.
That's where the schedule plays in.
Yeah. Well, it's so many things, and you just don't know until the very end. It's too bad the season ended with the way it did. But, we had so much fun with Joe Flacco Mania. I mean, that really got our spirits up as a group. I know our podcasts, and we were all, over the moon about Joe. It's too bad that he did what he did. It really was a shock. As much as it was a shock to the system, to Browns fans, winning all those games at the end with Joe Flacco leading the way in a surprise fashion, it was almost an immediate shock. Like the Band-Aid got ripped off, in that playoff game with the back-to-back interceptions. I know where I was watching the game with friends, it was just like, okay, one happened, boom. But then when the next one happened, it's like, dude, what the hell just happened? So
2 pick sixes in 15 seconds.
Yeah. And that's not a good feeling for us Browns fans, but we can say it was a great time with Joe, and now we've got the new guy, Jameson Winston, coming in. That'll be interesting too, to see how he sort of fits in, because I think that he'll play a game or two, because I just don't think Deshaun's going to be able to make it through an entire season for whatever reasons. I don't know what that'll end up being, but I'll be anxious to see how Winston sort of reacts to everything this year, because he was a former number 1 draft pick and had most recently played down in New Orleans, correct? Is that?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 1 overall.
Yes. Yeah.
Browns in recent years have had 6.
Yeah.
Number 1 overall played for
him. Yeah. Well, folks, we want to thank all of you again for tuning in here to the Fanatical Elfz. We've got almost 800 of you who have stopped in tonight, so really appreciate that. Spread the love, man. We love our Brownies just like you guys. We're a bunch of ordinary, crazy Browns fans. I'm probably the craziest of the group. Well, maybe Lou is. I don't know. Jarrell here and Steve are more stoic and more, by the way, Jarrell does the dog. He has his dog food store.com, and he's wearing some of his gear right now. Like, if you want some of this stuff that he's got merchandise, he's got a website, dog food store, right, Jarrell?
Dogfoodstore.com. That's correct. It's correct.
DAWG, right?
That is correct. Only way to spell.
The only way to spell dog.
Yeah. Right. Now we also have our own website or our own sales too. I know that Noah Olson, our other colleague, is starting kind of doing some of that. And I think Jarrell and Noah are kind of working on some things maybe in the off screen here. Mm-hmm. So we're excited about that. If you guys want to buy any of our apparel, things like that, we would love for you to do that. It would help our brand as we're growing. And folks, we're only in the season 2. This is season 2 of the Fanatical Elfz. And, we have a lot of franchises in Fans First, like the Squealers down the road, who have been more established. They've been part of the old SB Nation and Fox Sports. We've transitioned now to Fans First, but they're doing a remarkable job, led by some great group of folks. They're in Pittsburgh who have really helped spearhead this, along with teams like the 49ers, baseball teams like the New York Mets, who have really strong fan bases. So we're growing here in Cleveland, and we need you to support us. Follow us here on YouTube and all the other resources, and please download us. That's where we make our big bucks, all the pennies. Download the audios when we push those out on Apple, on Spotify. Subscribe. So, like, again, this afternoon, Jarrell's show, I pushed it out, and then like 10, 15 minutes later, boom, on my phone came up. It had Jarrell's show. So I click on it, and it's right there, and it starts to play. So that's what we all need y'all to do. Thanks, guys, for being here. Happy Thursday night to everybody. Go Brownies.
Happy Thursday night. Go Browns.
See ya.
The Fanatical Elfz Show.
We're not welcoming you. We're saying goodbye.
We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans. Bring you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now.
Don't tune in now. You can go to bed now. Have fun. Have a great night. talk to you soon. Go Browns.
Go Browns.